Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive with My Mind MashUps.
Great to be here.
So today, we're diving into something that, let's be honest, can feel a little prickly. A bit uncomfortable, maybe?
Definitely. It often does.
We're asking that tough question.
Yeah.
What if? What if you are the common denominator in the problems that keep showing up in your life?
Ooh. Yeah, that one can sting a little.
Right. But hang on, before you tune out or get defensive, this isn't about judgment. Not at all. It's really about self-compassion.
Exactly. It's about love, not blame.
And understanding how we can maybe, just maybe, step out of these patterns, these sort of intricate prisons our ego builds.
Yeah.
And find some real freedom.
And you know, that initial discomfort you might be feeling listening to this, that's actually pretty normal. But I'd really encourage you, lean into it. Just stay with us.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you're brave enough to really look at this, truly explore it,
yeah,
everything can change. Our whole mission today is unpacking how pride, how our ego kind of subtly traps us, keeps us stuck in these repetitive cycles, often, you know, self-sabotaging ones. It's a huge realization when you finally see it for what it is.
Okay, let's unpack that then. When we say ego here, what do we actually mean? Because it's not just like someone being arrogant or full of themselves, is it?
No, exactly. That's a common misconception. In this context, ego isn't just arrogance. Think of it more like your brain's inner bodyguard.
Okay, an inner bodyguard. I like that.
Yeah, it's that part of your personality, the decision-making part that's constantly trying to navigate the world. And its main job, defend your identity, your self-image.
Right. Keep you feeling like you.
Precisely. But sometimes it does that at the cost of actual growth. Psychology points to defense mechanisms here. Things designed to protect us, sure, but when they get misused, they can actually sabotage us subconsciously.
So this system that's meant to keep us safe,
Yeah.
sometimes it just, overreacts. It goes too far.
It's the perfect way to think about it. It overcorrects. Research actually shows that a lot of self-sabotage comes directly from the ego trying to shield us.
Shield us from what?
From perceived failure or rejection. The idea of it. It's almost like burning your own house down just so you don't have to deal with a broken window.
Wow. That's a powerful image.
And what makes it so tricky is how these ego illusions mask themselves. They can look like humility, sound like simple realism, even feel like you're just protecting yourself. Makes them really hard to spot sometimes.
That definitely clarifies things.
Yeah.
And you see this playing out, I think, in what I call the self-sabotage cycle. Like, you've got something big coming up,
Okay.
a presentation, maybe a new project,
Yeah.
and you're secretly terrified of failing. So the ego kind of whispers, hey, maybe don't try too hard.
Mm-hmm. Lower the stakes.
Exactly. So you subtly, maybe unconsciously, half prepare. Then when it doesn't go great, you can shrug and say, well, you know, I didn't really give it my all anyway. It's like ego's emotional insurance policy.
That insurance policy, it's really just heartbreak in disguise, isn't it? Because it basically guarantees you pain by making sure you avoid vulnerability.
Yeah. You never risk really putting yourself out there.
And another key thing here is that self-sabotage is often this unconscious urge. It's a deep psychological resistance to positive change.
Resistance. Why resist positive change?
Because your ego sees the risks involved in growth, new situations, vulnerability as threats, threats to its sense of safety, its control, so it resists, keeping you stuck, but, you know, quote unquote, safe.
I have a personal story that really hits this home. Being the common denominator.
Oh, yeah.
For years, I had this recurring drama of friendships. It always felt like everyone else was flaky, unreliable,
Yeah.
letting me down. It was the same pattern, just different faces.
Wow. That sounds frustrating.
It was, until my sister, who has this amazing way of just cutting through the noise, she said something brutally honest.
What did she say?
She just looked at me and said, look, if you smell dog poop everywhere you go, maybe check your own shoe.
Gasped slightly.
Oh,
Wow, that's direct, but powerful.
Right, it just cracked me open. And when I actually, metaphorically, checked my shoe,
What did you find?
I realized I was subconsciously setting things up for failure. I wasn't confirming plans properly, wasn't speaking up clearly about what I needed or setting expectations. My ego was just operating blind, confirming its own belief. See? People always let you down.
So it felt safer to be right about people being flaky.
Exactly. Safer than actually investing fully and risking getting hurt if I was the one who, misjudged or overextended.
That's so raw and so relatable. It really shows how these ego patterns can pop up anywhere. My own big wake-up call, funnily enough, was in my career. Very similar realization.
Really? How did it show up for you?
I used to feel constantly misunderstood, undervalued, like I always had to defend myself, my ideas. I thought I was just being assertive, standing my ground.
Looking back.
Looking back, it was protective pride, wearing armor. Thick armor. Feedback didn't feel like a gift or an opportunity to grow. It felt like an attack. A battle I had to win to prove I was smart, competent.
So your internal script was kind of like, they just don't get it, so why listen?
Precisely that. It felt much safer to blame the system or other people's perceptions, they don't recognize my value, than to actually face the personal work I needed to do. I see now I was creating an environment where constructive feedback just couldn't land.
Which just kept the cycle going.
Exactly, perpetuating the very feeling of being undervalued.
Gosh, it's so uncomfortable, isn't it? That moment you realize, oh, wait, it might be me.
Profoundly uncomfortable, yeah.
But then there's this flip side, this incredible sense of liberation that comes with it. Suddenly, you're not just a pinball bouncing off circumstance.
Absolutely. When you stop pointing fingers outwards and you recognize you have this inherent power to change your response, your actions, your mindset, it honestly feels like breaking free from invisible chains.
Yeah, it's a shift from feeling powerless to, wow, actually really empowered.
It truly is.
Okay, so what does this mean for you listening right now? How do you start to even recognize this ego trap in your own life?
Good question.
Well, one big piece is understanding those defense mechanisms we mentioned. Psychology talks about things like projection, denial, rationalization. They kick in to protect our identity when it feels threatened.
Right, like projection, that's when we take our own stuff, maybe insecurity, and we see it in someone else. We accuse them of being insecure.
Or rationalization, where we make up logical sounding reasons for our behavior after we've done it, just to avoid feeling bad or facing the real reason.
And it often shows up as what some call false pride.
False pride. How's that different from regular pride?
Well, genuine confidence, healthy pride, usually comes from actual achievement, from competence. False pride, that's often fear wearing a mask, fear pretending to be principled. It's the ego puffing itself up because it feels weak or scared underneath.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if you're wondering how to spot these patterns in yourself, ask this. Do the same kinds of frustrating situations seem to happen over and over again? Maybe with different people or in different areas of your life, but the theme is the same.
That's the clue.
That right there, that is your invitation to look inward. And crucially, when you do look inward, try to do it without shame. It's so easy to fall into, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, that's the default, isn't it?
It is. But try shifting it. Ask instead, what am I missing here? Move from judgment to just curiosity.
I love that reframe. From what's wrong with me to what am I missing? It's gentler, more productive. And it leads us right into this idea of radical accountability.
Big concept.
Yeah, it's about really owning how your emotions, your actions, your choices, how they actively shape your experience. And again, not about blaming yourself, it's about seeing your power in the situation.
That's the key distinction. Radical accountability isn't about blame, it's the deep understanding, the acceptance that you are 100% responsible for your life, your responses, your outcomes, regardless of what happens externally.
100%, that feels huge.
It is huge,
Yeah.
But it's an act of choosing your power. We can actually break it down into maybe 4 steps to practice this.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, just acknowledge your role, honestly. Whatever the situation, what part did you play? Second, get curious. Explore. What unconscious needs or fears might be driving your actions?
So digging a bit deeper than the surface reaction.
Exactly. Third, stop resisting. Stop fighting the reality of the situation and ask yourself genuinely, how am I contributing to this? How am I creating this?
Oof. Another tough question.
It is. And finally, step 4, own it. Own your part without shame. Replace that judgment with inquiry. The whole shift, the fundamental change, is moving from whose fault is this to, okay, what can I learn here? How can I grow? What is my responsibility now?
That feels incredibly empowering, but I imagine it takes practice. It sounds like work.
It absolutely is work, worthwhile work, but work nonetheless.
So for you listening, if you're ready to roll up your sleeves, what are some practical tools, things we can start doing today to challenge these ego traps?
Okay, practical tools, love it. Let's start with maybe a daily ego spotter check-in.
Ego spotter. Okay.
Yeah. Each day, just try to notice one moment where you felt that urge to blame someone or something else, where you felt justified.
We all have those moments.
Absolutely. Then ask yourself, what specific thought or fear about myself was my ego trying to protect right then? Don't just gloss over it, really pinpoint it. This shines a light on the ego's game, makes it visible.
That's powerful, just seeing it.
It disarms it. Another tool, actively counter negative self-talk. We all have that inner critic, right?
Oh yeah, mine's loud sometimes.
So instead of fighting it or believing it, maybe give it a silly name. Like, I don't know, Theodore.
Laugh slightly. Theater.
Yeah, so when Theodore pipes up with, "You're not good enough," you can firmly say, "Look, Theodore, brain, whatever, I hear you, but you're wrong. I know you're wrong." And then this is key. Consciously replace that negative thought with something positive, something empowering.
I like that. Acknowledge and replace.
Exactly. And that flows nicely into pattern recognition. When you find yourself in that familiar friction, that frustrating place, just pause. Yes. Breathe. And ask, hang on, have I been here before? What's my usual role in this kind of situation? Recognizing the pattern is half the battle.
Okay, where else?
Vulnerability practice. This might feel stretching, but try sharing one small struggle, just one, each week with someone you really trust.
Why is that helpful?
Because it lets your ego be seen without its usual defenses. It allows you to be imperfect, to be human out loud. It dismantles that protective armor, little by little, one brave chat at a time.
That makes sense. Less hiding.
Less hiding. Then there's cultivating self-awareness and mindfulness. This is about becoming like a curious, non-judgmental observer of your own mind.
Watching your thoughts without getting swept away.
Precisely. Let the negative thoughts come up. Acknowledge them, there's that thought again, and then consciously let them go. Also, take a few minutes each day to reflect. What did I do today? Why? What did I learn? It helps you understand your own motivations.
And this awareness probably impacts how we talk to others too.
Yeah, huge impact. Which leads to practicing compassionate communication.
Okay, tell me more.
This means trying to speak with love, with understanding, even when you disagree with someone. It means really listening to understand their perspective, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
That's harder than it sounds.
It really is. Using affirming language helps, like saying, okay, I hear what you're saying, even if you see it differently. And choosing vulnerability, sharing your own feelings openly rather than shutting down. Importantly, apply this compassion to your internal dialogue too. Talk to yourself kindly.
Be as nice to yourself as you try to be to others.
At least. And finally, maybe the most crucial part, taking action and setting boundaries. Radical accountability isn't just thinking differently, it's doing differently.
Right. Thoughts are great, but action is key.
Exactly. Move from, oh, I should do that someday, to, okay, I will take this small action now. Set clear, maybe measurable goals, take concrete steps. And boundaries are a huge part of this.
Protecting your energy.
Yes. Understanding your limits, protecting your energy, your time, your focus. Learning to say no confidently to things that don't align with your priorities. That's profound self-accountability.
Okay. And one more.
Oh, yes. Perhaps the biggest mindset shift. Embracing failure as growth.
Instead of something to be terrified of.
Exactly. Stop seeing setbacks as the end of the world. View them as invaluable data points, learning opportunities, adaptation fuel. Real success rarely happens without stumbles. The lessons from failure are often the deepest. This shift turns you into a conscious leader in your own life.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of powerful tool. And thinking about all this, it really does have a ripple effect, doesn't it? Especially in relationships.
Oh, definitely. The relationship mirror concept is so relevant here.
Explain that a bit.
Well, those recurring issues you see in your relationships, they often reflect your internal dynamics back at you. Are you always picking partners who are emotionally unavailable? Are you somehow, maybe subtly recreating familiar drama from your past?
So if the same problem keeps showing up with different partners,
it raises that important question, right? Maybe it's not just about finding a different person. Maybe it's about looking at what you consistently bring to the dynamic.
Right. It's not always them. It might be the role you're playing, the pattern you're stuck in. And that leads to that massive growth mindset shift we talked about. Moving from feeling like, I'm always the victim here, to asking, okay, what can I learn from this? That single shift fuels everything.
It really does. And replacing those internal stories like nobody understands me with questions like, okay, how can I communicate more clearly? How can I express myself better? That can lead to huge, seismic shifts in perspective.
Yeah. So it's about understanding when the ego is actually serving you and when it's sabotaging you.
Exactly. Ego isn't the enemy. It's not inherently bad. It just becomes destructive when it gets rigid, when it refuses to bend, refuses to learn or adapt. Think about pride again. Healthy pride comes from real achievement. Destructive pride demands to feel superior, often by putting others down. Big difference.
And I just want to say, if you're listening to this and you're feeling defensive right now,
Yeah.
maybe a little angry or dismissive, that's okay. But notice it. That defensiveness, that's often ego's alarm bell screaming, warning, warning, you're getting close to something uncomfortable but maybe true.
That's such a great point. Don't push the feeling away. Just observe it. Notice the resistance. Learn from it. That observation is a step towards freedom.
Yeah, don't fight it, just watch it.
And remember, feeling scared about change, that's normal too. But often that fear means you're actually expanding. You're growing beyond what your ego can predict or control. It's a good sign, usually.
A sign of growth.
It connects to concepts like shadow work and building emotional maturity.
Shadow work sounds intense.
It can be. It's basically the process of looking at the parts of ourselves we usually deny or hide, our shadow, our hidden fears, maybe impulses we don't like. It's not about wallowing, it's about integration, understanding your whole self. That's where true freedom lies.
And emotional maturity.
That's about owning your feelings, not blaming others for them. It's about being able to receive feedback gracefully, even when it's tough. It's about being able to apologize genuinely when you mess up. These aren't weaknesses, they're strengths. Muscle building for a more authentic you.
And when you start doing this work, embracing that radical accountability, it changes the energy around you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It creates a safer space, not just for you, but for the people in your life too. Your willingness to be accountable, to be vulnerable, it kind of gives others permission to do the same. That's the ripple effect.
It's powerful stuff.
So if we were to summarize the core takeaways for everyone listening, first, start recognizing those ego sabotage cycles in your own life. How do they show up for you?
Pay attention.
Second, actively replace blame with inquiry. Keep asking that question, what's my part in this?
Curiosity over accusation.
Yes. Third, make vulnerability and those daily check-ins we talked about a regular practice. Even small steps count.
Consistency.
And finally, really commit to your own growth through radical accountability and developing that emotional maturity. It's an ongoing journey.
Okay, so here's a challenge for you for the next 7 days. Let's try this out. When you feel that blame rising up, that urge to point the finger externally or internally, just pause
Just pause.
for one moment and ask yourself that question. What is my part in this situation? Remember, this isn't about beating yourself up. It's about reclaiming your power, your agency.
Empowerment, not blame.
And maybe share one insight, one realization from this exercise with someone you trust. Because accountability really thrives in connection, in community.
Absolutely. And just imagine what healing, what incredible growth is possible for you if you stop being your own biggest barrier.
You're not broken. You are absolutely becoming. Thank you so much for going deep with us today on the Deep Dive.
Thank you.
And hey, if you found this valuable, please do like, share, and subscribe, or follow My Mind MashUps wherever you get your podcasts or audio.
Your support helps us keep these conversations going.
It really does. You can find My Mind MashUps on Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook, Pocket Casts, Spotify, and YouTube. We appreciate you listening.
We do.
We'll see you next time for another Deep Dive.